in that building. Back a few years ago, and I know God put this on my heart, this wasn't just me thinking or imagining, that it's one thing to get good laws passed, but if the passing of those laws looks like a really ugly church business meeting, then we have failed. Anybody ever been to an ugly church business meeting? Yeah, I think Doris would just not even go to business meetings after a while, because a lot of times it just wouldn't be very God honoring. And that's how passing some of the laws looks out there at the Capitol. I hate to tell you. People are angry, people don't keep their word, people just do stuff they shouldn't do. And so I said, if the process of lawmaking would glorify God, I think maybe the product would glorify Him too. Does that make sense? Yeah. Does that make sense? And so that's why we started inviting pastors to come to the Capitol. It's not that I'm trying to make pastors into lobbyists. If they just come and be pastors and spread the gospel and show the love of Christ, then we would be light years ahead of where we ought to be. And I'll tell you a little story about something that happened a few years ago. We had a group of pastors come out and eat breakfast at the Capitol one day. And we decided to do a prayer walk around the Capitol, inside the Capitol building. And so we went down to the governor's office. Seemed like a good place to pray. And so we walked in, there's about 4 or 5 of us. And the girl sitting there answering the phone at the front desk, somebody said hi to her and said, "We're pastors. Is there anything we can pray with you about?" And her face just lit up. And she said, "Yes, there is." She put the phones on hold for the governor's office, or transferred them back to some other person, got up from behind that desk and walked around, and she said, "My husband needs a job," and some other things that she voiced, I can't remember now. She said, "Will y'all pray for me?" And so the pastors, right there in the doorway to the governor's office, laid hands on her and began to pray for her. And I just thought, this is how government is supposed to work, guys. I mean, you know, and I know people would say, well, how dare they pray in the doorway of the governor's office? Well, why not? I mean, I don't see any reason in the world not to do that. And so they're just little glimmers of light, and glimmers of hope. And you're a part of that by coming to Pastor Day at the Capitol. Because I want y'all, when we finish our worship time in the morning, I want y'all to fan out through that building. You can prayer walk through the building. We'll have some little classes on, you know, how a bill works out there and some things like that. But realize that you are doing something that you don't even quite appreciate the significance of. And let me tell you, I'll close my part of this and we'll do a couple of questions maybe or a few. But when I first started going out and lobbying at the Capitol, I was just by myself a lot. And I felt really, really small. Because there just weren't many people that shared my views that were out there. And I would go out there and we'd do bills and we'd just get beat. And people would be mean to us and rude to us, call us the God Squad. And I thought, well, why not? I guess we are. I'll embrace that instead of thinking it an insult. But they called us the God Squad and all these other things. And finally, God asked me a question when I was feeling really low. He said, "Who am I?" And I said, "Well, Lord, you have this conversation in your mind. You're the King of Kings and you're the Lord of Lords. That's who you are." And he said, "When you go to the Capitol, who are you representing?" And I said, "Well, I'm representing you, Lord." And then I connected those dots and I thought, I'm here to represent the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And that's a whole lot bigger than the governor or the president or any elected official. And so I just kind of squared my shoulders and said, yeah, well, all right then. But then I got real sober feeling because I thought, I don't want to mess this up. If I'm being sent to represent the King of Kings and Lord of Lords in that place, then I better do it right. And so rather than making me proud, it made me very humble, but it made me very confident that I didn't have to back down for anybody. So anyway, that's all I have. If you'll turn the cameras off, we'll talk about some other stuff.